On the extension hearing of the restraining order of Beth Nichols versus Richard Stebbins Jr.
Okay.
This was issued on 10/4.
All right.
Madam, please raise your right, both parties.
Yep. Perfect.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Madam,
Okay.
for the record, your name is?
Beth Nichols.
Sir.
Richard Stebbins.
Okay. Mr. Stebbins, sir, have you had the opportunity to read this affidavit?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to get you up to speed. I'm going to ask you to read the affidavit. And do you have an objection to the extension of this restraining order?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have.
Yep. And so we're going to have a hearing. And just so that the record is clear, it looks like that you have an open criminal matter. It involves this lady, and the next time that it's going to be on is January 4th of 2022, and Mr. Banks is representing you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you read that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, ma'am, I'm going to read the affidavit. I'm going to have some questions, okay? I'm just going to ask you to speak out loud because we're on the record, and I want to make sure that everybody's constitutional rights is protected, okay? Okay, ma'am. And how do you know the gentleman?
He was my boyfriend.
And I've read your affidavit. Is everything that you wrote on the affidavit the truth?
Yes.
And tell me why you remain in fear of serious, imminent physical harm from the gentleman, so much so that you're asking for this restraining order to be extended.
There's been a history of mental and verbal abuse.
Okay.
There's also been another physical altercation in the past.
Okay. And why are you afraid for him, for your safety now? What happened?
The incident that okay. We were arguing, and he was putting on his jacket in the
Yep.
dining room to leave.
Yep.
And we continued arguing in the kitchen, and he started getting in my face, like as close as you could humanly get,
Okay.
and sort of doing this kind of motion, like
Okay.
telling me,
like aggressive
yes.
type of
Oh, yes.
emotion you're
And-
showing me?
Yes.
Okay.
And telling me that he was going to make me afraid.
And were you afraid?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And he just kept doing it, and I said, "You need to leave. You need to leave. Please leave." And he wouldn't leave, so I went over to the sink and just started putting my lunch bag away from the night before. I had my back turned to him. I was facing the sink, and I turned to face him. Sorry.
That's okay. Take your time.
I turned to face him, and then he pinned me up against the sink and elbowed me in my right jaw. And I said, "I'm calling the cops. And you need to leave." And he left with his dog on foot, and I called the cops.
And was he arrested at that time? Is this the charge
Yes,
that's
he was
current?
arrested, and I actually have copies of the police report if
Yep,
you'd like
I got
to see
it.
them. You have
Okay.
them already? Okay.
Okay. And so without the benefit of this extension, Ms. Nichols, do you remain in fear of serious, imminent physical harm?
Yes, I do.
And Ms. Nichols, I noticed on the gentleman's record that there were some assault and batteries back in 2008 that were dismissed outright. Did that involve you at all?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else that you feel that I should know before I speak to the gentleman?
No.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Stebbins, sir, I'm looking at your record, and it looks like there's an open case currently where you're represented by Mr. Banks.
Yes.
There's an assault and battery household member to which this lady is the complaining witness, and you posted $300 cash bail.
Yes, Your Honor.
What that means to me is that you have an absolute constitutional right not to say anything that could be used against you in the criminal matter. Because we are on the record,
Yes.
and anybody can pull the tapes, and the government can hear, and the government is prosecuting you. Knowing all that, sir, would you like to say anything?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what would you like to say? She says she's afraid of you and that you elbowed her in the jaw.
I had no physical contact with her that I'm aware of at all, Your Honor, and she had no physical contact with me that I'm aware of. We were arguing about some damage to her bumper that she had been hiding from my father,
Okay,
and I was very unhappy with that, and I tried
Sure.
to leave the house, and she wouldn't let me leave. She became very, very emotional when I told her that she's going to need to tell my father how that damage happened,
okay,
and because it caused problems. My father owns that house.
okay,
And he gives me a discount on rent. I'm on disability.
Sure.
I have a genetic disorder, so at the time I can't work right now.
sorry to hear
And
that.
my joints are all. I have some severe injuries, and I didn't want to argue with her about this. It was very upsetting because me and my father, we don't have the closest relationship, and the relationship with my father's wife is horrible to say the least.
Okay,
But I've been very calm and understanding through all of this. Before this happened, I've gone out of my way to do everything I can for Miss Nicholas. She's under a severe amount of stress just because of her son, her work.
Okay.
She's got health issues that affect all aspects of her life. Like every single day, these things are a severe issue and problem.
right.
And I wish nothing but the best for her. I don't even know how this. I was shocked when the police pulled me over. I had no idea the cops were coming to. It said that I accidentally hit her in the jaw. And that's what the officers told me, that it was an accident. I'm like, this didn't happen at all. I wasn't aware of any of these things. I just left the house because I didn't want to argue with her.
Were you getting in her face and verbally threatening
She
her?
was in my face. We were sitting on the porch. I didn't just woken up. I did the dishes, and then she came in just wanting to argue. She was in a bad mood. I'm assuming it's from her health issues, and there's a lot of issues with her son, with the poor treatment her son's receiving in the group home that he's living in. So there's just lots of stress in our lives. But I feel I've handled it very well. I fix what I can fix, and the things that I can't change, I just accept it and I wait until hopefully in the future that things can get better. And I have no interest in going back to that property other than just to grab my things. Even if Miss Nichols wasn't there, I don't want to go visit my father and his wife. I'm not going to be spending any time over there with the family. My family doesn't even want to come over to that house because of the way it is over there.
Well, I mean, is that your house and
No,
not hers?
My father owns a two-family house. He lives on one side, and Beth and I and her daughter were living on the other. Her daughter had just moved in a week prior, and we had no fights. I reorganized that whole apartment just so her daughter could move in. There was no problem with that. Not ideal situation, but it was the best situation that her daughter could be in, and I had zero problems with that.
Well, if it's your apartment, sir, we can talk about that with the lady
No,
when she intends
I
to
don't
get
want
out.
that apartment. The apartment, she can have that with her daughter. With the prices of rent, I'm assuming until my father finds out why we were arguing about the car damage. I'm assuming too my father's going to have a real problem once he finds out. He's not, when he finds out. This happened months ago, and
Ma'am, do you intend to stay in that apartment?
I had a conversation with his father, and he said that I can still live there and that Richard is not welcome to move back in, even if we moved out.
There was a record that was sealed back in 1999 that was a allegation of a violation of a restraining order where the gentleman got a continuance without finding, and there was also an intimidation and an assault and battery that was dismissed out of the Springfield District Court. Did that involve you at all, ma'am?
No.
Sir, based upon my review of the affidavit coupled with the credible testimony that I see, in the fact that you have 8 restraining orders with 6 different women, I'm going to extend this restraining order. Ma'am, are you looking for the same terms that you currently have?
Yes.
All right, madam, I've extended this restraining order for the period of 1 year, and that will be until October 14th of 2022. And to the two of you, that's the day that you should be back here if you have any, if you desire to extend that or oppose it. The second thing is, sir, I don't want you to forget that you have a court date that you have to come back to on January 4th of 2022, and there was a stay away, no contact, comply with any 209A on that matter as well. So, ma'am, this is the only notice that you're going to have about this, so if there's any changes, you should call the clerk's office. You should also carry this restraining order on your person at all times. It is good throughout the Commonwealth. If you become concerned for your safety or the safety of others, you must dial 911. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Nichols, I'm going to ask you to head over to the clerk's office, and, sir, I'm going to ask you to wait to be served, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Call Mr. Banks.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Very well. Thank you.